Aviation, Ground Transportation, Regulatory Concerns, and Future Generations now convenes this hearing. In accordance with the open government law, public notices for today's proceedings were sent to the media on Wednesday, June 18th, 2014, and again on Monday, June 23rd, 2014. For the record, today is Wednesday, June 25th, 2014, and the time is now 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The committee will hear and accept testimony, both oral and written, on the following items. Bill number 333-32 LS, introduced by Senator Brant McCreadie, Senator Aline Yamashita, Senator Dennis Rodriguez, Senator Tommy Morrison, Senator Frank Aguon, Senator Michael Limtiaco, Senator Tina Rose Muña-Barnes, Senator Chris Duenas, Senator Tony Ada, myself, Senator Michael San Nicolas, Senator Rory Respicio, Senator Tom Ada, and Speaker Judith Wampat. An act to amend subsection 5106A of Chapter 5, Title 19, Guam Code Annotated, relative to providing discretion to the Office of the Attorney General with regards to the automatic certification of minors as adults for certain crimes, which may be cited as the Juvenile Justice Reform Act of 2014. We also have on the agenda Bill number 338-32 COR, introduced by Speaker Judith Wampat, myself, Senator Michael San Nicolas, and Senator Tina Rose Muña-Barnes, an act to add a new subsection E to subsection 70105 of Chapter 70 of Title 11 Guam Code Annotated, relative to the Department of Revenue and Taxation, including fields on the business license application and renewal forms identifying the gender, ethnicity, veteran status, and North American Industry Classification System code number of business owners. Senators present joining me in the committee today, to my immediate right is Senator Brant McCreadie, and to his immediate right is Speaker Judith Wampat. To my immediate left is Senator Aline Yamashita, and to her immediate left is Senator Chris Duenas. Just some general rules for the hearing. Individuals wishing to present testimony are asked to sign in with the staff. Please ensure that you indicate your support or opposition to the item for which you signed in for. Unless otherwise designated, those testifying will be recognized in the order they signed up. Written testimony may be read, but is requested that it be kept to 5 minutes if possible. Testimony should be confined to the substance or nature of the bill being heard. Personal inference as to the character or the motive of the author or any member of the panel is not permitted. No debate or rebuttal shall be allowed between two individuals testifying. When speaking, please ensure the microphone is on, and individuals are asked to state their name for record purposes. We'll begin public testimony on Bill number 333-32, and I would like to give the primary sponsor of the bill, Senator McCreadie, an opportunity to offer his opening statement. Senator.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for allowing me to speak on this bill and having such a timely public hearing. I'd like to also thank our speaker for co-sponsoring, along with Senator Duenas and Senator Yamashita and yourself. I'd also like to thank the AG's office for helping us craft this, and Ms. Sanchez, who will testify a little later. Bill 333, also known as the Juvenile Justice Reform Act, is a bill intended to provide youth offenders ages 16 up to their 18th birthday a chance to avoid automatic certification as an adult for certain crimes. Under current law, any child 16 up to 18 who is charged with any second or first degree felony is automatically certified as an adult and has their case tried in adult court. Well, Bill 333 allows the Attorney General's office discretion in waiving the automatic certification. If waived, the child would have his or her case tried in family court. This is a bill that helps us create restorative justice, and it helps us close the gap between that 16 and 18-year-old and allows us to rehabilitate rather than punish. And this is not a get-out-of-jail-free pass. These children ages 16 and up will still be tried in family court and will still receive punishment for their crimes. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I look forward to today's discussion.
Thank you, Senator McCreadie. Signed up, we have Captain Tim Santos of GPD, who was here earlier, and Ms. Carol Sanchez from the Office of Attorney General. Seeing that Mr. Santos is not available, Ms. Sanchez, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Senator. Did you want to read his written testimony? Okay. Thank you. Good afternoon, Senators. Speaker Wampat. I'm here on behalf of the Office of the Attorney General of Guam, and I'm here actually in support of this bill, 333-32. It's probably one of the bills that's been long overdue, something our office has been moving to work on and getting in place. And we thank the senators, all the senators actually, for assisting us in getting this done, and the support of all the senators for this bill. I think, Senator Duenas and Toniato, who's not here today, they've been at the Department of Youth Affairs, and they know, they see those children in the range of 16 to 17 that come in that are held there because they're being housed only because they were charged as adults, and they sit there for a period of time and not receive treatment and services when, that's something that really needs to be put in place. What this bill does is it answers a lot of problems that we've had in the past, that we've heard from the community, concerns regarding the Romeo and Juliet cases, where we have sex offenders who have been dating for a period of time. And of course, as the years go by, your age also goes up, and you hit a statutory age range where you will be charged. And so this actually eliminates the need of us addressing any changes in the actual CSC laws, because now what it does is it allows us to use this statute and drop down versus having to change the criminal code and making a mess out of that. And so this fixes that problem, and it also fixes the problems where we have juveniles who are in the system for burglary charges, or charges where they were conspirators to their parents who are being charged for crimes, and unfortunately they happen to be there in the car, asked to be the lookout person. They will be charged at the same offense level because it's a conspiracy charge, but they had no intent. They did it because it's their parents. They were told to do it. They're scared about the retributions they may have, or other issues they may have with the retaliation from their parents. So this statute actually is long overdue. It gives us the discretion. I do want to clarify, I know in speaking to some other people, they were worried we're taking any kind of discretion away from the courts. We didn't change any of that. There's still that ability for the courts in this particular statute to still motion or request that the government, move to have either juvenile charged up or down. So that's still within the statute's authority. What it does is it gives us that where it's automatic, we just had no discretion at all. And we would go into court, and what would happen is we would have to drop down charges. And when you drop down charges, you don't hold them accountable for the actual crime they committed. You lower the offense just to get them into the juvenile system. And there are issues where with the court, where we've had where the judge, based on the minor, based on like some disability or mental illness of the minor, believed that family court would best serve the interests of the minor and the community, and they would force us to drop down. But again, we face that issue of whether or not we're able to because of the actual crime. If it's a first or second degree felony, it's clear that they need to be charged as an adult if they're 16 years or older. And so dropping it down doesn't give us the full realm of what we can do to hold the offender accountable. Certain crimes have minimum sentencing requirements, minimum community service, minimum fines. And for us to drop down, we would eliminate a lot of that stuff. And so this would truly allow us to hold them at the accountable level that they should be held at. As well as Senator McCreadie mentioned, it's a restorative justice system. In our juvenile world, there's when we deal with juveniles, it's complex. We're not just dealing with a person. We're dealing with the fact of maturity. We're dealing with the fact of possibility of disabilities that infringe upon their understanding of what they can do and can't. And so we want to look at the whole situation, and this allows us to take it on a case-by-case basis and make that determination at that point. And so it's truly it's a good bill. It's fully supported by us in prosecution. It's something that fixes a lot of the problems that we've seen that we don't need to fix the laws or the crimes. We just need this authority to allow us the ability to drop down. And so our office fully supports the bill. And I know that this was one of the action items on the Juvenile Justice Law Review Commission. And so we're happy that it's moving forward. We've actually accomplished one of the action items on a list of things that we have to do. And on the Juvenile Justice Commission, we have a lot of other agencies that are key players to all the juvenile events, such as the courts, mental health. So all those Department of Education. So all these agencies have sat before the commission, and we've discussed this particular section of the statute, and so I believe they would support it as well. It's in the interest of our community and of our juveniles. And as Senator McCreadie mentioned, treatment and rehabilitation is always a priority when it comes to juveniles, and affording them that opportunity versus putting them through punishment and sanctions. That's always going to be the first option we have, especially where we believe they're treatable and they were truly not, they weren't the offender that the community believes them to be.
Thank you very much. We also have written testimony submitted by Captain Santos on behalf of Chief Fred Bordalio, who writes, Buenas and half a day, the Guam Police Department has reviewed and supports Bill number 333-32. He goes on to state that juveniles have been involved in serious crime, and this legislation provides the Office of the Attorney General the discretion to evaluate which juveniles who commit serious crimes are amenable to rehabilitation and those who are not, and thus deserving of being waived to the adult court. He therefore fully supports the bill's enactment and humbly asks all members of Administration de Dos Nulas Turanguahan to do the same. That's signed our Chief Fred Bordalio, the Guam Chief of Police. Are there any other questions for Chief Sanchez?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to thank you for your testimony and your input in the language of the bill. And I'm glad you brought up the restorative justice part and the fact that when there are serious crimes committed, because I don't want, we've been a legislature that has been extremely tough on crime, and we've been amending these criminal codes that haven't been touched in 40 years, and I don't want the message to get out that we're softening our stance on crime. What I believe we're doing is we're listening. If you heard the Chief Justice's restorative justice speech when his address, we're listening and we agree, and we all have to work together through this process to make sure that they go to UOG rather than DOC. And I'm sorry I stole that from Senator Duenas. He was one that said that, but he's absolutely right. We have to make sure that we as a community and as leaders of this community, elected officials, ensure that we're doing everything we can to save these kids rather than not just warehousing them in jails. But at the same time, I would like to make sure that the message is sent. This is not a free pass to first base. This is something that if you do commit a crime as a juvenile that is very serious, a first or second degree felony, you may get automatically certified, and you may not get the automatic cert. We're just giving the discretion to the Attorney General's office to make that decision if this person can be rehabilitated, and if he should be rehabilitated, then let's work on that. But I thank you for this. I know it's not restorative justice, it's a part of restorative justice. It's what we do with this type of law that would make it restorative justice. So I thank you very much and look forward to working with you.
Yes, thank you, Senator.
Senator Duenas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Carol. I want to also thank you for your testimony and maybe shed just one more layer of light, if you will, on this subject. In the years that I worked with you and the office, Mr. Chairman, and those that would receive the testimony on this particular bill, and thank you to the author as well. There's a lot of tools that are used, particularly when it comes to youth offenders, but there's laws sometimes that don't allow those tools to be used. In this instance, you wouldn't see a multiple offender, more than likely, who has multiple contacts with the juvenile justice system, more than likely receive this type of treatment, just simply because there's been an established record. So when the AG's office talks about issues where they're caught up in an issue of a family that is and under the control of parents who are committing crimes, and they're wrapped up into that, or under certain situations where they have romantic relationships that are consensual in nature, but then it sticks them in to the Department of Youth Affairs with multiple year offenders, where they actually sometimes learn behavior now, because whereas they could have gotten better understanding and treatment of how they need to conduct themselves. So I just wanted to put that on the record, Mr. Chairman, while the AG's representative was here, Carol Sanchez, just because it's exactly what the author said. This is not a special treatment bill. It's a bill that adds a tool to the toolbox, if you will, whereby right now there's a lot of constraint, and we've seen situations where youth offenders have gone the wrong direction because of the fact that the AG couldn't work and allow other services to be provided, and a much poorer result of what happened instead of what could have happened. So thank you for being here, and I want to just once again appreciate your office, because that's how you treat these cases. It wouldn't be an automatic thing anyways, in terms of you would use your discretion first, and this is a lot of time for first-time offenders. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Duenas. Any other senators have any questions for Ms. Sanchez? Senator McCreadie, would you like to close on the bill?
No, fine. Thank you very much, and like I said, I look forward to working with you. And I'd like to also thank my co-sponsors. And not to make light of this stewardship, but I knew this was a good bill when Speaker Wampat decided to co-sponsor it. So I knew it was going to be going in the right direction. So I appreciate it.
And our office thanks all the senators.
Thank you very much, Carol.
Thank you.
Now I'll go ahead and conclude the hearing on bill number 333. I assure you, Senator McCreadie, that's the number one way to get good things done in the legislature. Speaker Wampat, on bill 338, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for hearing bill number 338-32. At the same time, I'd like to thank the Guam Women's Chamber of Commerce at one of their meetings, where they had encouraged myself and others who were there to consider pursuing, of course, legislation which will provide women-owned businesses with the support that they need to succeed and thrive in our local economy. So they approached me with a suggestion of providing a procurement preference in government contracts to women-owned small businesses. However, as we were researching this idea, we learned that currently no one is tracking how many women-owned businesses are on Guam. So as our local women continue to advance in the business community, it's absolutely essential that we have a way of tracking this success, and thus, of course, how this bill was born. My office worked very closely with the Small Business Development Center and the Small Business Administration's Guam office to also explore the need to track other groups that may qualify for procurement preferences in both local and federal contracts. We all decided that the best way to discover the types of business owners in our community was to capture their demographic data when they apply for or renew their business licenses by simply modifying the forms to ask for their gender, ethnicity, and veteran status. It was also suggested that we request the North American Industry Classification System code number, which is used by federal statistical agencies in classifying business establishments for the purpose of collecting, analyzing, and publicizing statistical data related to the business economy. Now, one of the concerns that was raised about the bill is that it does not identify a funding source to cover the cost of editing the business license forms. However, I'm looking into the possibility of increasing the penalty for those who do not renew their business licenses on time, because my understanding from Rev and Tax when we visited them that it's $1 a day, and if we are able to successfully then increase this penalty, those funds then can help to offset the small cost of changing business license forms. So I'd like to thank you, Mr. Chairman, and of course all of the individuals who worked at exploring ways in which we can support the success and sustainability of our local businesses. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Testifying with respect to bill number 338 is Mr. Casey Jazenka. Please, sir, join us. If you can just push the button on the microphone to ensure that it's on and state your name for record purposes, and you may proceed whenever you're ready.
Well, thank you, Speaker Wampat, Senator McCreadie, Senator Nicolas, Senator Yamashita, Senator Duenas, for the opportunity to speak on this bill. I hadn't planned on it. Our senior counselor, Ms. Denise Mendiola-Herslet, said, I can't attend, so I learned about it 15 minutes before I was walking out the door to another meeting. But I did provide input to Senator Wampat's office months ago in the drafting of this. We feel this is very important. Ken Lujan, the Guam SBA branch manager, and I have been pushing for this for years, so we probably didn't push to the right places. But we actually approached Revenue and Tax and talked to the director 8 or so years ago and pushed for the NAICS code and veteran status, women-owned. And the issue at the time is not only the form, because we were looking at other ways of having a drop box and stuff too, but they have online registrations. But it was the modification of their system, because what he said was that they do collect a lot of data, they just don't input it into the system. And so besides the cost of the forms, hopefully there'll be funding to modify the system, because I come from Montana and I worked with the SPDCs there, and in the 90s, I could go to the computer, put in a zip code, put in a type of business, and pull up how many are there, and that's very valuable information. I got here, and there's a lot of statistical and demographic information throughout Micronesia, because I have SPDC service centers throughout all the islands, but this is a big step for Guam. It'll help both businesses developing their plans, expanding, but also help with grants to know how many women there are, how many veterans there are, even how many of the number of operational businesses. This doesn't come to that, but I know there's a lot of passive businesses in the 3,000 plus businesses listed in Guam. I know people that buy 8 licenses but don't run any of them. I mean, I'd actually like to know the actual number of running businesses, but that's a whole different thing, so I deviate. This is needed, and my recommendation that I submitted to WAMPAT was the NAICS code, and that's important just so we know the types of businesses. That way we can know by village if they're women-owned, veteran-owned, and the type of business, and it really will give us good information on that. One recommendation that Denise said I might make before I came here is on the gender. You know, I really thank the Guam Women's Chamber of Commerce for bringing this to Speaker WAMPAT. You know, they want to know women, but normally there's a percentage, like with the veterans, it's 51% plus to be considered a woman-owned by SBA. But there could be male-owned, woman-owned, male, female-owned. So, I mean, you might further define the definitions in those categories and make sure, you know, the women-owned is defined as 51% plus, so it meets, you know, federal guidelines too, so we're talking apples to apples. The only other recommendation, and you mentioned seeking funding for the change of forms, but, you know, funding for the update of the computer system, because they said they had to go back to their vendor to see how much the cost would be on that, and I think that would be a lot more than actually the forms. You know, so law without the funding, you know, to make this happen, you know, we need this, and it will really help. So thank you very much, Senators.
Thank you, Mr. Jazenka. Yeah, actually, when I saw the NAICS code add-on here, thank you very much for that. That's a huge help, not only for the collection of the data, but, you know, there's a lot of industries that just do research based on the NAICS code when it comes to determining whether or not they want to go into a new market. You know, like they might be a business-to-business service provider. They want to find out how many, you know, of a certain type of
Potential
business.
clients that
That's
they
right.
might serve, you know.
That's right, but they
Or if
can't-
there's too much competition, it's not, you
That's
know,
right, but they can't find that
it really
here
helps.
because we don't have them registered. So thank you, Speaker, for introducing this. Thank you, Casey, for adding that into as a suggestion. And the committee will work with the Speaker on making sure that the definition of the ownership classifications fits with the federal standards, so that we're able to fully take advantage of the grant opportunities. Any Senators, Speaker Wampat, any questions for Mr. Jazenka?
No, I just want to publicly, of course, thank you and Denise as well when coming to our office and working with our office to do just this. When aside from the women's chamber, I was asked to represent the government at a women's conference that took place in Cook Islands, and they were asking a lot of data about women. And when we reached out to the Bureau of Women's Affairs and the Bureau of Stats and Plans, what we learned that no one was collecting any data at all in terms of gender. So that was one of the things that they too now are considering to change again their forms and the collections of their data. So I think with what we're doing here, this will be the impetus for them to do just that, because we found out that there's a lot of grant monies also that are available.
Yeah,
that we're
you
not
need the
accessing.
statistical and demographic
Yes, and
information, and we
once-
just don't have it
You're
here.
right.
I've been written many grants. I helped, you know, on the PTAC grant, the Veteran Business Outreach Center grant, you know, but we're scrambling to get numbers, when we're writing those initial grants. And
Absolutely, and especially because of the Bureau of Women's Affairs, it's just a collateral duty with one employee there, and she can't even write for grants or anything because she has no data.
Yeah.
And I think this will be the first to kick off that type of data to be made available for grant
And
writing.
I just also want to let you know, I'm on the Chamber Small Business Development Focus Committee and also on the GCA Small Business Committee, and this is an initiative all there, so it's not, just the Guam Women Chambers. I mean, again, I thank them so much for bringing forward, but all these organizations feel this type of data is valuable. So I'm not speaking on better half, but I'm just speaking as
we always try to gather data. We do know that our decisions need to be data-driven, and so and I think it's ingenious to do it through the licensing process, because somebody wants to start something, they're going to have to share this information.
And then every year it's current.
Right,
you know,
and every year it's current. We had tried to move something on the floor last two sessions ago and gathering data, and we didn't get the support for it. So I'm hoping that people will better understand why we need to gather data to make informed decisions. I'm going to, on the floor, work with Madam Speaker to see if we can add another category about disability-owned businesses. She had raised at one public hearing the Randolph Shepherd program that supports our blind to low vision vendors, and so that kind of data piece too. You know, how many of us are actually seeking business opportunities, and it will help us get more grants. But you know, the numbers of people are actually succeeding in business there. And then the other thing is, Mr. Chair, the licensing division shall compile the data and present a quarterly report to Bureau of Statistics and Plans, and then I would hope that we would require that it be placed on the website so that everybody can access the information as they move forward. But you are right in that getting data on our island is challenging.
And I think the online access that Senator Yamashita is recommending is important. Like I said, I was able to do it for my clients in the 90s back in Montana. Here we're in 2014 in Guam. You know, we should be able to go to the Bureau of Statistics Plan or Rev and Tax and you know, put in a village, put in an NAICS code, and know how many women-owned, veteran-owned, you know, type of business that is. You know, and so, yeah, the online access, I think, is critical. You know, send a report to Rev and Tax still may not make it easily accessible to everyone, you know, so, again. And individual disabilities, thank you for adding that.
Speaker Wampa, would you like to close on the bill, or you're good? Okay. Mr. Jazenka, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. I didn't plan on it.
No, excellent input. Thank you so much. This will go ahead and conclude the hearing on Bill number 338-32. The committee will continue to receive testimony on all items heard this afternoon. Please address any written testimony to the Committee on Aviation, Ground Transportation, Regulatory Concerns, and Future Generations, and may be submitted via email at senatorsannicolas@gmail.com, hand-delivered to the legislature's mailroom or to Suite 203 in the main legislative building, 155 Hessler Place, Aguon. Thank you again.